Alright, ladies and gentlemen, in this video I'm going to talk about writing a thesis to analyze or make an argument for literature or research, specifically writing your thesis. So, first of all, here's something that I use with my 9th graders that still stands up to time here in 11th grade, which is called a full and final thesis. So your thesis is your one-sentence argument. It motivates your entire paper. It occurs at the end of your introduction. All of your topic sentences should tie back to it. And then your conclusion is saying why this argument is important or what the next step would be. So to have a full and final thesis, if you are specifically making an argumentative, especially like research paper, you would start with an antithesis, which is the other side's point of view. For literary analysis, typically the other side is not going to be crazy strong, so you don't necessarily need to include an antithesis, but if you want to, that's what you would start with. You also need to have the topic that you're writing about. So in English class, that's normally the literary work or your chosen topic, then your opinion or your argument about that topic, and your 3 points going from strong to stronger to strongest, which correspond with your body paragraphs, and they are the main idea of how you're going to prove your opinion about your topic. So all together is your full and final thesis. So for example, let's look at example 2. Here we go. Although the government would like the children of the United States to attain academic proficiency, the No Child Left Behind Act is not a viable solution because teachers will be forced to teach the test. Standardized tests only test certain kinds of intelligences, and the demands of this act are unrealistic. So we have what the other side thinks, which necessitates your argument. If there is no other side, you can't argue anything. Your topic, the argument about the topic, and then the 3 reasons why. That'll correspond with your body paragraphs. So that's the basic idea of what you need. Not everyone includes the 3 points. It's helpful for clarity, but not everyone does that. Alright, so your main point, your central message, the sentence captures your position on the main idea. So your thesis is typically 1 or 2 sentences, usually 1. It tells the reader your main point and keeps your paper organized. So you need to say it in your thesis. Not in your thesis, in your introduction. You should be very clear. You never want to say the point of my paper is, or I'm going to talk about, or I'm going to tell you, or this essay is about. First of all, that's the wrong point of view for a formal essay. That's not third-person point of view, which an academic paper needs to be. And also, that's just saying what you're going to say in a minute. Instead, you can just say it. Your thesis should be specific so that your reader knows exactly where you're headed. Should be clear, etc. There's some tips on there. Alright, so if you're having trouble with thesis statements, look through that. And I want to look at some example essays. Let me open some of these up. Then your thesis will align with your topic sentences of your body paragraph. So each topic sentence should relate to your main argument, should explain the point of the paragraph in terms of how it's helping your main idea. Okay, so in this example, this is a research paper. But the thesis down here at the end of the introduction, even though some people believe prescription drugs are the most effective way to treat pain, doctors should approach certain illnesses with therapy versus prescription medication because of the need to eliminate dependency and eliminate substance abuse and adopt a more holistic approach to medicine. Sorry, that's parallel. So that's clear, and then these points here in the thesis correlate to the topic sentences. So for many, dependency and substance abuse are a regular occurrence, so that ties clearly back to the thesis in terms of the argument, and then also that supporting idea. In this essay, this is one I wrote in college. about A Vindication of the Rights of Woman by Mary Wollstonecraft, mother of Mary Shelley. So my thesis is not as clear as the previous one, but also this is a pretty short paper. So I say that in her essay, Wollstonecraft defends the power of the individual, namely individual women, as well as the freedom of education. She argues these Romanticism ideas using Enlightenment rhetoric. However, Wollstonecraft bends the logic and reason of the 18th century with the lofty liberties of the age of Romanticism. So that's my argument, that she's blending these ideas with that rhetoric. So then I go through the ideas, Romanticism ideas, and then the rhetoric of the Age of Enlightenment. So that's only a 4-paragraph essay. And this one, this is about Walden. So her argument is, Thoreau rightly states that the rich and poor are equal, and he even states his preference for poverty over wealth, though he makes little mention of the hardships of poverty. So that argument is not as clear as I would like it to be. It should include the title of the work, his full name, your main argument, and your supporting ideas. But then the topic sentences tie back to it very nicely. Preferential in terms of poverty. And then I have some example essays about your particular topic. So, like, this one isn't clear enough because the it is referring back to something else in the introduction. Your thesis should be able to stand alone. You should write your thesis first, really. It can be interpreted 3 ways to fight society. So, to conserve idiosyncrasy. Alright, so idiosyncrasy can be interpreted 3 ways. Fight society, be ostracized for being an individual, or to become isolated in order to find true identity. So, that one's a little bit all over the place. I would have liked a clearer argument. So those are the main things I wanted to tell you for your thesis. So you're definitely arguing something. Whenever you're talking about literature, this is philosophy really, but literature and philosophy both. You're not summarizing, you're coming up with your own opinion and argument about the texts and about the ideas, and then you support it, you prove it. So your thesis is that main argument.